All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. We got more left tackles to take a look at here, and now we are firmly into backup territory, which this is probably where we should be more interested anyway, right? These are the players that you could get for a relatively cheap cost, usually pretty much exclusively 1 year deals, and you just get an opportunity to pick up a guy to be your backup to Charles Cross. You understand that the player you get is not going to be stellar. You just want somebody who can be adequate in case of emergency, maybe play a little bit on special teams. So this is where we encounter some players that might actually be a logical target. Not to say we have to, but we certainly can. We're going to go lightning round because we're in the depth territory now, but definitely try to find some people you like because unless you think Gerald is ready to be a backup left tackle, and I don't know that I think that he is, we're going to need somebody like this. All right, Kendall Lamm of the most recently Miami Dolphins. He's been a Texan, he's been a Titan, he's been a Brown. So a established veteran at the tackle position. Other than 1 year in Houston, 2018, he's never really been a full-time starter, but he has been a part-time starter the last 2 years because Miami's offensive line cannot stay healthy to save their life. About to turn 33, so he's getting near the end of the line here, but if you sign him for 1 year as a backup, I don't think you're going to be too disappointed. He was graded very well last year, although I would say that he's playing on that Miami Dolphins offensive line, and we all know that the Miami Dolphins, if there's one thing they're known for right now, is having a passing attack with a quarterback that gets the ball out of his hands almost immediately. And most of 2024, he played at right tackle. He was mostly a right tackle in 2024. You go back to 2023, he was mostly a left tackle. It was almost a exact swap, actually, if you compare the rate at which he played one versus the other. His grade was still decent, though, 64.3. Again, I would caution against thinking that he's going to replicate that success as a pass protector in any other place because Tua does basically get the ball out of his hands like it's on fire, and no other quarterback's even close to Tua in that regard. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but he is a competent player, and he would be a high quality backup for most teams that need one. And he also has swing tackle value, so not bad. Botrax says 1 year, 2.9 million. Seems about right to me. I think that would be okay. Um, he's good enough to at least be somebody that you know is going to start a few games over the season, and that's going to be okay. So, not too bad. Justin Skule. Justin Skule just turned 28 a few months ago, was a Niner, been a Buccaneer the last few years, so he's been in the NFL, but 2024 was the most recent year he actually played significant snaps. He had 5 starts for Tampa. Before then, his most recent start was 2020, so not a lot of recent experience. Now, he was graded pretty well in 2024, 69.2. That's workable. That's somebody that is able to play competent football. But most of it was at right tackle, although a good amount was at left tackle too. So it's another guy who could be like a good swing tackle. He's going to add a little bit of bonus value, but you definitely don't want him to be a starter. Botrax says 1 year, 2.9, basically the same as Lamb. So I don't think this would be too bad of an idea either. So Justin Skule, decent option as a backup that also provides some alternative value. Andre Dillard, first round bust of the Philadelphia Eagles many years ago. Gonna turn 30 in October. So he's actually been in the league a lot longer than I thought. Is local, grew up in Woodinville, went to college at Wazoo. So there might be some interest in bringing him back just for that purpose. But as far as his ability to play goes, there's not a lot to say. The 1 year he was like a full-time starter was 2023 for Tennessee. Pretty bad Tennessee team. And it just never really put it together. And last year he was a full-time backup. The 1 year that he got a decent amount of starting reps was 2023. Was graded at a 51 by PFF, near the bottom, not even a top 100 tackle. And he gave up 12 sacks, even though he only played about half the season. So really, really rough stuff. So he's got talent, but it's just not coming together the way people were hoping. So Andre Dillard, you sign him to be a backup and you try to develop him a little bit and you just hope he never actually plays. Spotrac does think he's going to get 1 year 2.9 million. I don't buy it. I think you're looking at something more like 1 year 2 million. I think there's a little bit of money you pay him because of his pedigree, but that should be mostly flushed out by now. And all that's left is a player who just isn't good. All that's left is a player that barely belongs in the league. And I don't know why I'm giving 2.9 million for that guy. I think I'm giving 2 million at most. Cornelius Lucas, another longtime NFL veteran. He's going to turn 34 this offseason. A little bit of a bigger guy for a left tackle, but he's played both tackle spots in his career. Most recently, he's been on the Commanders. I guess he was on them back when they were the football team too. Been a Bear, a Saint, a Ram, a Lion. Has started a decent amount of games over the last 5 years for Washington, but he hasn't been a full-time starter outside of, I guess, 2022 when he got 12 starts. So I wouldn't sign him as a starter, especially now. We're talking about a guy who's about to turn 34. You don't want that guy to be your planned starter. You want him to be your emergency starter. PFF did think he played pretty well in 2024. 74.1 grade. That's totally workable. I would give a lot of credit to that to Cliff Kingsbury, though. He played some left tackle, mostly left tackle, but some right tackle as well, so that's nice. We like that. The previous year, 2023, he was okay. 62.8. Again, he mostly played at left tackle. He almost exclusively left tackle, so he's more of a left tackle than a right tackle, but right tackle is something that he can kind of sort of do if he needs to. So 62.8, about average. So this is so long ago, though, for him, because he was, 32 when this happened, and now he's 34. That's a big switch up. Now, 1 year, 2.7 million, that's probably about right. That's probably what it takes to get him out of bed at this point. It wouldn't shock me if this guy retires, but 1 year, 2.7 million should be enough to get him out of bed. That seems about appropriate to me. So, yeah, Cornelius Lucas, decent backup option. Jedrick Wills Jr. Remember this guy? Top 10 overall pick in 2020, was considered to be a blue chipper, and he has been anything but so far. He's about to turn 26, so we haven't seen his best football yet, but Jedrick Wills Jr. has not panned out the way the Browns were hoping. Over the last 2 years, he's played in a grand total of 13 games. He did start a lot of games in the first 3 years of his career, but overall, this has not gone the way the Browns were hoping. He has not blossomed into a Pro Bowl or All-Pro level player. That's what the hype was when he was drafted. And now it seems like they're set to let him go and just move on from him and figure something else to do. Last year when he did play, which wasn't a lot, 250 snaps or so, poorly graded, 52.9. Run blocking grade in particular is a 4, right? And that's on a limited number of snaps. Year before that, when he played more, almost 570 snaps, 54. So he hasn't been graded well in a little while. So Jedrick Wills, according to PFF, isn't even a average player at this point. And it's the party's probably over for him. His pedigree will get him paid a little bit, but probably not much. Spotrac estimates 1 year, 2.2 million. I wouldn't be shocked if his pedigree gets him to like 3 million, but that would probably be about it. I just can't get excited for this guy at this point. He just hasn't done enough over the last 2 years, and when you're not there, you're not there. And right now, Jedrick Wills Jr. can only be assumed. I could see a position change, maybe. Maybe he slides inside, maybe he moves to the right side, but I certainly wouldn't spend a lot of money to find out if Wills is any good. Dan Skipper, going to turn 31 in mid-September, so still got a little bit of gas left in the tank, but what you're really getting with Dan Skipper is kind of like a utility player. He can play some guard, he can play some tackle. He caught a touchdown last year. He's never been a full-time starter. He's not really at that caliber of player. He never has been. So you have to wonder if the age is going to completely rob his ability to stay in the NFL. Like, when you think about it, with a guy like a Dan Skipper, he's already marginal, and now he's over 30. Like, how long do you think he's going to be able to maintain even the marginability? 2024 was the one recent year he got a decent number of snaps. It was over 300. He was graded pretty poorly, 55.4, but I guess it's manageable. And like I said, he's played some guard, he's played some tackle, so he does have utility value. 1 year, 2 million, that's probably about right. You could use him as a backup in like 3 different spots and feel passable about it. You won't feel great about it. You won't feel good about it, but you'll feel passable about it. Joseph Noteboom, longtime starter for the Rams, won a Super Bowl with the Rams, was a 3rd-round pick back in 2018, has provided different levels of value for that Rams team over the years. He's never been a full-time starter, but he's been a most of the time starter a few times. And for the most part, the issue with him is he just can't stay healthy. He's fairly good when he's out there, but he's never started more than 9 games in a season. And for the most part, he's just kind of been hanging around as a good, but not necessarily reliable piece. Like, there were so many times where it looked like he was poised to become the starter for the Rams on their offensive line, and then something would happen to just steal the opportunity from him. Maybe they'd acquire somebody much better, or he'd get hurt. Just one thing or another kept him from getting to that point. PFF thought he was about slightly below average last year, 60 flat, 220 total snaps. Again, he was playing both tackle spots. The year before that, he played almost 600 snaps, mostly at right guard, but right tackle, but also some right guard, left tackle, 52.3. So a substandard player at this point, but not a terrible player. And it's 1.9 million. If Spotrac is correct, that's probably about appropriate. He's a player who belongs in the league, but he doesn't really belong having a significant role. Going to turn 30 in a few months here. So you just have to you just have to get him knowing what you're going to get into here. He's at this point a firm backup. Josh Jones, last guy I want to cover in this video. Former Cardinal, former Raven. I think he was on Houston. Yes, he was. I remember liking this guy quite a bit in the 2020 draft. A lot of Seahawks fans wished we had taken him instead of Damian Lewis. Well, he has not been as good as Damian Lewis, so that's good. In fact, the only year he was a full-time starter was 2021, and he was a starter, I think, at guard. So he really just never got there. He never really realized his potential. He's been in the league. He's been a capable backup, but for the most part, he's not providing much other than just a warm body. 49.3 PFF grade, mostly at left tackle, some at left guard, some at right tackle this last year for the, this was the Houston Texans, actually. He didn't play enough for the Ravens last year, so this was Houston the year before, and the year before that, he was graded quite well on 600 snaps, almost all at left tackle, so I guess you could parlay from that he's meant to play left tackle. But there's nothing overly exciting about Josh Jones here. There's nothing consistent. This was now 3 years ago. This was 2022, so this is only going to carry so much weight. And overall, he's just a depth player. He's just a depth piece. There is a market value page on him on Spotrac, 1 year, 1.9. That's probably about right. So, yeah, I guess. You'd get somebody with some utility value, but you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a player like this. He was so lackluster in 2023, he barely got to play in 2024. Okay, that's it for the look at backup left tackles part 1. We're going to do a part 2 video later today. And I think what we're going to do is actually do right tackle later today as well, because that's going to be over so quickly. We don't need to take a whole day for it. We can just go ahead and pump it out tonight. It's probably just going to be one video, because at this point, with everything else we've looked at, there's just really nothing else. So we're going to do that, I think, tonight. And, yeah, we're going to finish up with the tackle stuff today. All right, everyone have a good day. Let me know what you think of this crew. I'll see you guys soon. Go Hawks. And the beat rolls on.